Go Dogs.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see at the next.
And we get a. There it is. That's much better. Sorry, I had to do that.
I feel like I almost have to reference the Brian Kelly saying "We'll see you in the national championship" thing every time, but I'm gonna let it go this time. It was a wild weekend. We're gonna get into some of the craziness that went down, but one thing that kind of went as most people expected. There was a little glimmer of hope, possibly like find a way to circle the wagons, rally the troops, and run the table, have some help here and there. A lot of help happened yesterday, but it was not enough as LSU falls 20-9 to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I don't know. It's just they put up a fight. It just wasn't enough. It's the thing that has bit them in the ass the last 2 years, really. Poor red zone execution. Those 9 points, that's all field goals. We got into the red zone 3 or 4 times and could not get points out of it beyond, and we missed a field goal too. They missed a field goal really bad. But forced a turnover like late in the game. It's a chance to tie the game and really get yourself in position. We strip them and we end up having to settle for another field goal. So it was just one of those kind of games where you go on the road and Garrett Nussmeier gets benched and just a whole bunch of other things, tons of penalties. That was probably the biggest thing that bit them was it seemed like every time there was a moment where we could get something going, false start to start the drive or a false start when it's first and goal at the 3. Now it's first and goal at the 8 and you're trying to find a way. You had a chance. You could have just run the ball. But now you have to get a little more creative. Running the ball from the 8-yard line ain't going to do it, and it's a little harder to complete passes in those tight windows in there. So it's really compressed, really tough, and they did it themselves. So I think the push for Frank Wilson to become the permanent head coach probably ends here, and it just is what it is. I will say this though. I think what should also end here is the Ty Simpson Heisman hype because I was not impressed. Like he made a few good plays, made a few good throws. He throws to a lot of wide open receivers. And this LSU defense actually did a number on him. If the offense does anything to sustain drives and keep Alabama off the field and put up points and put some real game pressure on Ty Simpson and Alabama, LSU probably wins this game, and I think they probably force another turnover or 2 because they were getting to him. It was just the way that Alabama was able to scheme was the dump off was always there, and he did a lot of throwing the ball sideways, a lot of just check downs because the coverage was good. They had a few lapses in the secondary where you got a play here or there, but for the most part, LSU really kind of bottled him up, and I don't remember what he ended up with, but it was not terribly impressive. 21 of 35 for 277, a touchdown, and he did have the sack strip fumble from Harold Perkins. So, like I said, it was not there was nothing signature Ty Simpson, and one other thing is we did not commit to the run game. Again, we tried in the first half. We were still in a game with these guys into the fourth quarter and continued to refuse to run the ball consistently. It was just so frustrating. One of the drives, we come out and the first play is they have the running back in the pistol, and then they bring in Xavier Thomas as a receiver to come in, and they give him a handoff. And it's just it's the same when you need to establish just your bread and butter running game, you need to establish that, and not all this other stuff only works if you're actually gashing people, if you're actually putting the run game together, and then you bring in this wrinkle, and they're just trying to stop your bread and butter, and they can't do that, and then you bring this in, and it's even worse. No, this is like everything was tunnel screens, and just it was a lot of sideways, a lot of avoiding the middle of the field.
In there.
Bauer Sharp fumbled the ball very early, gave Alabama their first field goal. Just a lot of little things where it's just too mistake prone, and gave Alabama too many opportunities. Another thing that was frustrating is, they did enough to lose this game on their own, but we had multiple plays where like we intercept a pass on the sideline, like the Alabama receiver gets two hands on the ball, our DB gets two hands on the ball at the same time. They go out of bounds, and the DB has the ball. Completion. We're not going to review it. Just completion, gone, done. Next play. Don't even think about reviewing it. Every time we did anything, Michael Van Buren got a first down by like 3 yards, but he like cut to his left. And as he cut to his left, the next step he took was to slide. Well, that slide step didn't happen until he had already gotten to the line. But they said he started his slide when he made that cut. So they called him down behind the line. And it was just like every time we needed a review to overturn something or to maybe give it a second look to make sure, no, benefit of the doubt goes to Alabama. Every time it was like not even really terribly questionable, but it would help Alabama to review it and maybe overturn it. Boom, let's do that. So it was yours. I felt like we were playing against Saban again. I was waiting for and then they had they do the thing where they move the ball back and forth. And I sent y'all the little GIF.
Yeah,
it's like that's an actual clip from a game where the referee's just like looking back to see where the sticks are and then moves the ball to where the sticks
crazy.
Are.
That's like crazy.
So anyway, it is what it is. Alabama's tough. They're going to be a tough out in the playoff. And it's looking like there's a very strong possibility that the SEC could get minimum 4 and possibly 5, possibly even 6 in the playoff. Now, Notre Dame would have to get knocked out for the 6th to happen, but the 5th could happen if you just end up with only one ACC or one Big 12 or both. And because I think the Big 10's going to only end up with 3. The way that things are shaping up right now. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But that's enough of that. I don't want to talk about that game anymore. It is what it is. The season is, for all intents and purposes, over. You can still go become bowl eligible. You got Arkansas coming to Baton Rouge. You got Western Kentucky. Pick up wins in those 2 games, and then go see what you can do at Oklahoma to round out the season, and then go hopefully maybe with Frank Wilson still as your interim coach, go win a bowl game, but possibly with a new head coach, go win a bowl game. I don't know. We'll see. It's time now. We get to officially shift our focus from having like this. We just fired our coach. We're looking for the new coach and an AD and a president, all these things. And we also have Alabama coming up too. Now it's just like, all right, the season's cooked. Let's focus on who's going to be our next coach. And let's go make sure that's the right guy.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because I thought that if you guys felt close that whole game, like it never felt. And I also did like seeing Michael Van Buren out there for y'all. I thought it added a dimension that like Nussmeier doesn't bring. But I feel bad because like Nuss was literally the top-rated returning quarterback this coming year, and to see how far it's come, it's really sad to see. But we move on. And before we get into that, I just want to welcome everybody back to the South End Zone. I don't think we did that.
Yeah,
Chad got right into talking about LSU Alabama, which is fine. We're not to worry about it. I want to make sure everybody likes, shares, comments, and subscribes, and we will move right along. I threw my belt over across the room after I tried to. But I think I got the point across. I hope you appreciated that, Chad. I wanted to surprise you with that. our most dominant win of the entire year, and it could not have come at a better time when people were thinking, oh, is Georgia actually good? Can they put together a complete game? Mississippi State's been on all these one-score games, so is Georgia. Well, doesn't matter. We go into Starkville, cowbells are ringing, and get it done. It was super, super fun to watch. I had a great, great time. And to be fair, they open up the game. Like they come right down the field and score on us. I'm like, okay, we take a punch in the mouth and let's give them our own. This was absolutely our best performance of the year. We ended up with 567 total yards of offense. Not too bad. They come out and score. We add on a field goal, make it 7-3. We then force a 3-and-out. Which first half stop. We love that. We then unfortunately fumble it in the red zone, which is not ideal. But don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. 7 plays later, they fumble it right back to us, and that was the biggest. Could have been a swing play early on, in their house. If we fumble it and they go up, whether 10-3 or 14-3, that is massive on their part. But we don't let that happen. We force their fumble. We right the wrong with the 4-play touchdown drive. Mississippi State punt. We then put together 13-play, 7-minute, 90-yard drive that ends with an Oscar Delp touchdown. Get the tight ends involved more and more this year. Oscar Delp was literally touted as the man to replace Brock Powers. And if not him, then I think our tight end committee as a whole can do that. You know what I mean? We involved Elias Williams, who's our 6'7" freshman. We got the ball to Delp. We even looked at Lawson Lucky, who I will talk about a little bit here, got unfortunately knocked out of the game. We turn Mississippi State over on downs. We then have a 2-minute drive to close out the first half. Mississippi State safety Jerron Manning just hits helmet to helmet Lawson Lucky. I thought he got knocked out. I'll be honest with you. It looked pretty scary for a minute, like he was laying on the ground for a hot second. It was easy targeting call for the officials. Called targeting on the field. Reviewed, confirmed his targeting. Manning gets ejected. Lucky does eventually walk off the field, so that was good to see. But I was worried we were going to be grabbing the stretcher because it was helmet to helmet, and Lucky's head snaps back sideways, and I'm oh, you hate to see that. So I'm glad that he is okay.
Right.
I don't know. I texted you guys this. I don't know if you were watching the game, but I said we pulled a Marcus Freeman on them.
I was not watching the game because YouTube and Disney has still not figured out their beef, and so I was not able to watch that game. And that's why I was able to watch the Big Ten games, because that's all I could watch yesterday.
That's fair. I'm lucky to have the original Hulu subscriber. Anyway, we were on their 38-yard line, right? And I think we get backed up or something. It's 4th and 3 on their 38, right? And we line up for a short field punt, right? And then we quickly sub off the punt team and bring on the offense. Mississippi State calls timeout. We then, timeout, all right, whatever. We then put on the punt team. Sub the punt team off and bring back on offense. And Mississippi State jumps off sides. First down, and then it ends with a Zach Branch. That's why I texted we Marcus Freeman.
Yeah. I figured that's what it was. I didn't see the play. So
so it was line up for a punt, sub off the punt team, bring on the offense, and then we got him. Gotcha, as I would said for Marcus Freeman last year. Ends with a Zach Branch touchdown. Hits the Ronaldo celebration. Third quarter, ass whipping continues. Nate Frazier, 59-yard touchdown run. Mississippi State 3 it out. Blake Shapen, unfortunately, gets hurt. We get to him. We were actually getting pressure for once. We had 3 sacks in this game, which is we are literally two sacks was our game high this entire year, which was great for us. Next drive, 64-yard Noah Thomas touchdown catch and run. Then Kamario Taylor, who I talked about before, Chad. I talked about actually previewing this very game. I was like, if we see him, he's pretty good. Luckily, we had a pretty solid lead when he came into the game. He is actually, and I texted you all this, he is the highest rated quarterback recruit in the history of Mississippi State football.
Including Dak Prescott.
Including Dak Prescott. So
it was only a 3-star.
Yeah. So pretty impressive if you ask me.
Yeah.
So he leads.
LSU didn't even offer Dak Prescott.
Oh, really? Is he a Louisiana guy?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah.
the shit happens, man. Listen, we didn't get Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, so
There you go.
shit happens. Taylor leads them down, 14 plays, 75-yard drive to make a 38-14 game. We punt, they punt. We kick a field goal for our last point, 41-14. Starters come out, and Mississippi State scores a garbage time touchdown to make it 41-21 final. Gunner ends 18 for 29, 264, 3 touchdowns. Nate Frazier, best game of his year so far, 12 carries, 181 yards, a touchdown, and then Chauncey Bowen, 7 carries, 28, a tud. And shout out Raylan Wilson getting like 1.5 sacks. Like, it was nice to see our defense like really, get involved and turn the tide and kind of get pressure like we used to in years past. So that was great to see. And I said it in our preview episode. I was like, I'm telling you, Chad, I think this 9.5 is the biggest trap ever set by Vegas. They're like, we're going to take 2 teams who have only been in 1-score games, and we're going to give the dog like over a touchdown's worth of points.
Yeah, just enough to be a 2-score.
Just enough to be like a 1.5 score game,
Right.
line. And I was like, that's the biggest trap of the year. And I called it. Belt to ass. Go
Nice.
Dogs.
Well, congratulations. At least you're doing what you were supposed to do this year.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy it.
So far, so good. We got Texas coming to
one
town
day
next week.
we're actually going to mutually enjoy a season.
I know. We're working on it, okay?
We're working on it.
We're working on it,
We
ladies.
just need a new coach. That's
We're
all.
working on it.
Holy shit, man.
We're working on it. It will happen. One day the South End Zone will be recording live from the SEC Championship in Atlanta. And we'll be
We could have done it the first year. We should have.
We could have.
knew. I feel like when everybody thought Dan Marino and Joe Montana were going to play against each other in like 5 Super Bowls or something.
Yeah.
They played in the one, and then Marino never went again.
Yep.
And so I feel like gotta hope that's not the case with us.
Yeah.
It's
We went to like back-to-back SEC championships. We went to like 2 and 3 years, right?
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
19 and 21. So it was like,
yeah.
well,
And we
one
went-
day soon. Which is funny, right? Because I feel like we ended up in a couple SEC championships when
No, 19 and 22. But yeah.
19 and
but
22. We ended up in a couple more together when the divisions were still East-West.
Yeah.
But anyway, we took care of business. But there was a lot more fun happening around in the country this past weekend.
There.
Where we
Man,
going, Chaz?
Let's start with the doozy of all doozies.
Dude.
Penn State looked like they were about to actually get the job done. Shout out to James Franklin. It's not only him that can't finish a game.
Bro, listen, so to be fair, like a couple times this year, like I've just said, you know what? I try to call my shots on the upsets, right? And there's also been times where I'm like, you know what? Favorite's just going to go in there and smack him around and call it a day. And I've said that thing a couple times, and I've been totally wrong. We're like, the underdog is in a dogfight. And it was actually really, really awesome to see Penn State play inspired football in their house, given the way the season has gone for them.
Absolutely.
You know, the defense was playing with their hair on fire. They were getting to Mendoza. We had a Nick Singleton resurgence, which was awesome to see. I really, really enjoyed seeing that out of him. He had 10 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Penn State quarterback actually played pretty decent in this game. I don't write a stat line down, but he played a good game for what was required of him in this moment. Penn State defense, 3 sacks, 8 TFLs, and an interception. And Penn State was down 20-7 mid-third quarter in this game. They had to battle. It wasn't like, they got up an early lead and they tried to hold on for dear life. It was, it was kind of a little back and forth in the first half. The second half, Indiana kind of tries to pull away a little bit, and then Penn State says, well, not so fast, buddy.
Yeah, and Denai Dennis Sutton made a couple of big plays.
Oh,
and
dude,
it was just like
he was the definition of hair on fire.
he was
You
a
see him like
monster, man.
looking in the camera, flexing, losing his mind, dude.
Yes.
I was like, is he looking at me? I was like, oh my God, like, staring at me through the camera. I had some family that was actually in the stadium for this game, and they said it was electric. It was unfortunate.
Indiana's one of those weird teams that like they have shown that they can put belt to ass at points this year.
Well, they got into a dogfight with Iowa. I mentioned it.
And then they had a tough game with Iowa. They had that the tough game with Penn State. This one, and I don't know. It's just and their win against Oregon is still a big
Penn State. They take that lead late and then they stand up on defense, right?
Bro,
And
they sacked
Yeah,
Mendoza the first play of
the first play of that series, right?
And he's like, they're inside the 10-yard line to start the possession.
So they actually Penn gets the ball back one more time. They burn some more time off the clock, and then we have to punt. So Mendoza gets the ball like 1:50 left, right? Like you said, he takes a big sack on the first play of that drive, and I'm like, oh shit, like they might just do it. And then it was like this chunk play. Shout out Charlie Becker. That tight end is a stud. That
catch on the sideline, right before, like two of the most incredible plays this weekend were on that possession.
And like almost like three plays apart.
Right.
Like 7 catches, 118 yards, no touchdowns, but still, like, he was Johnny on the spot because they were missing their top receiver, Surratt.
Surratt, yeah.
Surratt and Omar Cooper. Catch of the had we in college football. This is like that was like I know like it was a regular season game, but it was like Santonio Holmes 2 foot in the end zone in the back corner vibes. But even like times a million because
it was. But if I can qualify though, so let's be it wasn't that great of a catch. Like it was like a fairly routine back of the end zone catch. What was amazing about it was the totality of the play. It's Mendoza getting rid of that ball as he's getting hit from both sides.
Goes out to the back of the end zone.
Right to the back of the end zone. As Cooper's catching the ball, he's shoved out of bounds out of the back of the end zone. And somehow, I don't know, his lead foot doesn't touch because it would have been out of bounds.
Right.
And his trail foot, which I think it was his left foot, touches toe heel, and the heel is still in bounds.
Yep.
It looked like the heel was like this.
Shout out to that back judge. You could see
he was
dead
on it.
See it and like in the replay of him like seeing the both players go up, right? He's like right here, seeing both players go up, then start to come down, and he just goes right to the feet, right to the end line of the feet.
He saw catch. Yeah. When he saw catch, he went right down to feet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's like feet and then right back to ball. Yeah. Because then you make sure that he's still secured it.
And he's just like bam. 100%.
That's the only thing you can do. It was perfectly positioned, and he did a great job.
Very rarely do we see perfect officiating in this day and age. But that was like a definition of like got it. That was a no doubter, 100%. Like that was a catch through and through. And it's even crazy on the replay. You see it's like that little centimeter of green between his white cleat and the white end line. And you're like, oh man! But just what a play! And then in true Penn State fashion, they still had a short opportunity to maybe tie it up, right? And they kind of start to go down, and they make a completion for first down, and they call a timeout.
Yeah, I did not understand.
They burned their only timeout they had. I was like,
you get up to the line and spike it, and then you save that timeout so you can still use the middle of the field.
You still use the middle of the field, or if you need to kick a field goal,
right? You have time to get your kicker.
You don't have to fire drill it. You know what I mean? And I text everybody I know. I said James Franklin would have also called that timeout in that very moment.
Yes, you would.
I texted everybody I knew. I was like, James Franklin would have called that exact timeout in that exact situation.
The apple did not fall far from the tree.
It does not matter. But it would have actually been the most hilarious thing ever that they fired Franklin after 12 seasons or whatever it was, and then 3 games later they get a top 5 win in Happy Valley.
Yeah, right.
But unbelievable game, and it's like the epitome of the beauty of college football.
Mm-hmm.
The other game we're about to talk about was also the epitome.
It was an ugly one. It was an ugly one, but it was
so ugly that it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was so ugly. Good old like Oregon getting in there with some good old fashioned Midwest Big Ten football in the cold, in the rain. Yeah. Dan Lanning at halftime says, "We love to play in the rain. Football in the rain is fun. Let's keep it rolling." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just for it to be like a ground-dominated game. And that's like what made the difference is Oregon doubled Iowa up on the run totals as far as yards gained, and that really was it. But nothing.
That's what we talked about. That was, and that's why I expected this game to hit the over.
Yeah.
At 41.5, I totally expected it to be over that because I thought Oregon would just about do it all by themselves. Yeah. The 16 is around where I thought Iowa would come in, like 10 to 20, somewhere in that range. I just thought Oregon was going to put up 30 or 40 on them.
But nothing says Big Ten football on the rain like the first quarter drive chart being punt, safety, interception, punt.
Yeah.
Like for the first quarter. But yeah, literally came down to Oregon dominating on the ground, 261 to 101. Noah Whittington, 17 carries, 118 yards. Dante Moore, it's kind of, I feel like no quarterback was really going to shine in that environment, in that situation. 13 of 21, 112 yards, one interception. Grodowski, hey, he did what he could for his team, though. This guy, 10 for 18, 138. A touchdown, 12 carries, 25 yards, and another touchdown. And when he – like the pure
he had the game-winning touchdown essentially, and then
pure emotion and intensity of him walking that bad boy in, and then the 2-point conversion gets overruled by officials. I think the guy he actually had no feet in bounds.
Yeah, he didn't get any feet in bounds.
Yeah, it was clearly out of bounds. And then Oregon doing what Oregon does, and
he did not have Amari Cooper.
No, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, foot awareness.
It was both feet completely out of bounds. There was
he's like, oh shit, I didn't know you had to put your feet down. My bad.
It was like way out, not even close.
He had his feet up like he was trying to. Like the floor is lava. Anyway, but the other thing is, what was funny is I was watching it, getting ready to watch the LSU game, and we're at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and so they had. Like I'm watching this TV and they just throw the score up and the score is 18-18. I'm like, no, I literally just watched this 2-point conversion not be converted.
Yeah.
And then they switched it and they made it was 18-15 Iowa. And I was like, well, that is also incorrect.
Like, what?
and then they finally corrected it and it was 18-16. I was like, yeah, okay, now you got it right. Because that was not a gimme kick in those conditions.
No, in that environment, in that conditions, absolutely not.
A little slip here or there, a slight bobble on the snap or anything like that. The wet ball makes the snap go a little high. We saw that a couple of times in the LSU Alabama game where we go down, we stop them on downs, go down and get in field goal range and shank a field goal, and then they come down and shank a field goal later. Like it was 39 yards in those conditions and from the left hash.
Yeah.
It was definitely not a guarantee. But he split it and they needed it. It was that kick goes through and they win. It doesn't go through and they lose.
With no time left on the
game.
With no time left.
Yep.
And Atticus Sappington
what a name
is the name of a chess grandmaster, not the kicker for the Oregon Ducks.
Or an investigator that works with Sherlock Holmes or something.
Yeah, gee.
Some kind of detective.
It's unreal. So shout out to that guy. Just shout out to you and your name, man. And you and your name get the win for the Oregon Ducks. But just that game, it was so ugly that it was beautiful. Just like encapsulates what college football truly is all about.
Mm-hmm.
In a game like that. And Chad, I know you hate it. I know you hate it so much, but Texas 8-4 is actually now Texas.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't completely hate it. Well, so we're not there. Hold on yet. Hold on.
We're not there yet.
Not quite there yet.
I was excited.
So we before we're going to stay in Texas. We're going to go to Lubbock though before we go to College Station. Even that one was played in Columbia, Missouri, but this one was played in Lubbock, Texas. And this was, it was. BYU comes in undefeated. It's number 7 versus number 8. We talked about it. I said whoever loses this game is going to be like knocked out of the top 10, out of the top 15 possibly.
Yep.
Sure enough, BYU, as the polls open this morning, is ranked number 12 in the AP poll. I would not be surprised if they end up in that 15 to 17 range in the selection committee rankings. We'll see. We'll see how they ding them for this, because this was an ugly loss. Like this was, I don't even know if 29-7 does it justice, because Texas Tech really just dominated this game from start to finish. BYU, we talked about this before in our preview. We talked about BYU, the number 35 rushing attack in the country. A lot of that coming from their quarterback, Bear Brockmeyer, who is like a really accomplished runner. He can throw the ball a little bit, but he really makes his hay as effectively like their leading rusher, right? So you expect this is going to be a tough matchup because Texas Tech comes in boasting the number 1 overall rush defense. So it's going to be one of those strength on strength matchups. And let me tell you, Texas Tech imposed their will. 27 carries by BYU for 67 total yards. And Bear Bachmeier did not do much through the air to make up for that. And then you go to the flip side of that, and Texas Tech just really did their thing. Baron Morton, nothing super impressive, but it was enough. 17 of 32, which is a terrible passing percentage, but completed enough passes to get it done. 219 and a touchdown. But Cameron Dickey really controlled the game on the ground for Texas Tech. 23 for 121 and a touchdown. And you also had BYU just not taking care of the ball. 3 turnovers, just made it to where it was pretty easy landslide. Outgaining BYU 368 to 255 was Texas Tech. First downs were pretty even, but it was those turnovers, man. You turn the ball over and you can't run the ball. Just going to make it really difficult for you. And like I said, Baron Bachmeier had an okay game. Tried to do what he could, but 23 of 38 for only – you throw the 38 times and you only get 188 yards. It's going to be a tough day. And they only sacked him one time, but he still – his calling card has been his ability to run the ball. 11 carries for 12 yards in that game. Texas Tech just drew a line in the sand and said, you're not passing. And that was it. And so – it's going to be really intriguing to see how Texas Tech, like what they look like in the playoff. They've got to get through the rest of the regular season and the Big 12 championship, obviously. But that one loss to Arizona State at Arizona State looms pretty large because I'm still trying to figure out how they allow that to happen. But it's one of the reasons why when we start looking at coaching candidates, Kenny Dillingham is one of the ones that I have near the top of my list. If LSU is looking to go outside the conference for someone, so anyway, that was the BYU Texas Tech game. It was supposed to be the big game. Texas Tech just took them behind the woodshed and moves up to number 7 in the AP poll. We'll see where they end up in the selection committee poll, but I expect BYU to plummet in that one as they did in the AP poll. Now we can go to your boys in Columbia, Missouri, who they also put the belt to the ass. And they're kind of making a habit of this. That's why I was saying this morning in our little group chat that this has got to be the most impressive resume
absolutely.
of the undefeated teams.
I'd say so. Texas A&M is taking care of business. They're officially Texas 9-0. We cannot take it away from them. It has officially happened. We never thought we'd see the day here on the South End Zone. So congratulations, Texas A&M, on being 9-0.
Yep.
And pretty much a guaranteed playoff spot at this point, unless absolute disaster happens. But I don't see that. Marcel Reed, 20 for 29, 221, and 2 touchdowns. They limited his ground game, but he took care of business through the air. And then Ruben Owens, 13 carries, 102 yards. I think he also had 2 touchdowns. And then, unfortunately, you never know how backup quarterback's going to do, but 7 for 22 and 77 yards is not going to get it done, even if your feature backs both rush for 100 yards apiece. You got to put points on the board. And, so Texas A&M keeps on rolling, and I don't know who and if anybody is going to stop them. We might,
I think it's pretty safe to assume that they will arrive in Austin, Texas, undefeated, and that game is going to determine whether Texas A&M is in the SEC championship or not, and whether or not Texas is in the college playoff. Because if Texas beats you guys and beats Texas A&M, then they are in the college football playoff, even if they lose the SEC championship. If they lose to you guys, they can still make it in by beating A&M, and then they won't have to play in the SEC championship because it'll be you guys playing against either A&M or Alabama.
I don't want to play in the SEC.
Right. Come on, don't be a chicken.
I'm sorry. It's just like I'm tired of it, man. We've been falling ass backwards in the SEC championship game too many damn times.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. Like, is that wrong to say? I'm tired of it. Like, it just adds like, is that, I don't know. That sounds messed up. But like, I used to like, really enjoy us getting a shot at the SEC championship. But like, let the other people have a turn. Like, that's,
well, look,
I'm fine with
what it's worth.
It.
For what it's worth, Texas A&M has never appeared in that game.
No, they have not. And do we want to see Georgia, Alabama for the umpteenth time?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some people do, but I'm okay without it because I'm sure we'll have to play them again in the playoffs if we both make it.
Right, for sure.
So shout out to A&M, man. They look really good. Mike Elko, Tommy Moffitt. There's a lot of dogs on that A&M side, man, and they look the part every bit of it for the first time ever. There's nothing you can say about them. They're for real. They are a very good team. They are a legitimate contender for the national championship.
Yeah, for sure. Now, a team that's still staying alive. And I told you not to look at anything because I know you didn't get a chance to see this one, but I'm just going to break down for you. So Vanderbilt actually dug themselves a deep early hole in this game. It was 17-3 Auburn late in the second quarter. And Diego Pavia just goes right down the field and punches in a touchdown to end the half. Or, well, not right before the end of the half. They left enough time on the clock with 1:15 left that Auburn was able to go down and get in field goal position and kick a field goal to make it a 20-10 game at halftime. That was pretty much all she wrote because after that, it was Vanderbilt touchdown, Auburn field goal, Vanderbilt touchdown to take the lead, Auburn touchdown to take the lead back, Vanderbilt touchdown to take the lead back again, Vanderbilt touchdown to extend the lead to 8 points, and then Auburn scores a touchdown. Shout out to Ashton Daniels, too, by the way, for like just coming out of nowhere and taking over for Jackson Arnold and playing way better than Jackson Arnold. But he marches down, hits Cam Coleman for a deep touchdown to tie it up 38-38. They go into overtime, and it ends up being a Vanderbilt win in overtime with Diego Pavia getting another touchdown again. So here are the numbers for Diego Pavia in case you were interested. 25 for 33. That's solid. Very good. 377 and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, my God.
Wait for it. 18 carries for 112 and a touchdown on top of that. So I don't know. This is one that I wasn't able to watch completely focused on it because I was watching other games at the same. I never saw him actually strike the Heisman pose, but I imagine it's very possible that he did. But yeah, he's every bit of the part. If they're gonna, I would not be surprised at all if just based on what we've seen so far, he is invited to New York.
I feel like yes, I could see him absolutely being one of the guys.
Yeah. Whether he wins it or not, I think is still yet to be determined. I'm not writing him out of that conversation yet because as good as Julian Sayin has been, as good as Ty Simpson has been, as good as Jeremiah Smith has been, this is one of those, like, Doug Flutie won this award. Like, this is one of those awards that all you have to do is catch the right moment and ride momentum, and it can take you somewhere. So Diego Pavia keeping his Heisman dreams alive and keeping Vanderbilt's season and playoff hopes alive because now they're looking at it. They've got Kentucky coming up, which Kentucky doesn't look like the slouch that they seemed to be a few weeks ago. But after a bye week, Vanderbilt has Kentucky at home in Nashville, and then they go to Neyland Stadium to play Tennessee. If they knock off Tennessee in Neyland Stadium,
which is very possible,
and if he has like a game, one of those big games like
the road dog,
then it's very possible. Now I'm gonna have to call you to task on that because he is not outside of the South Carolina game. He has not been much of a road dog.
You're right.
His worst performances have been on the road, but
yeah.
It's more them the overall Vanderbilt offense and the team in general on the road. But he actually still did his thing against Texas in a comeback effort last week. So it's still very possible. Now, you know who's not going to win the Heisman?
Who's not going to win the Heisman?
Anybody who plays for one of these two teams.
Yeah, I saw none of this. I just saw the final score went what?
Bro. All right. So I'm going to give you remember we talked about Notre Dame and Navy combining for 456 rushing yards?
Yes.
Or 452 rushing yards. These two teams combined for 456 total yards.
Oh.
Wisconsin threw for 48 yards in this game.
Sick. I heard Luke Fickell is being brought back next year.
So do you want to know who the leading passer for Wisconsin was?
Tell me all about it.
This man is from, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Mequon? I don't know. Mequon, Wisconsin. All right. He's a freshman. He's a punter.
He's a punter. He's the punter.
He was 1 for 1 for 24 yards. That was it. That was the highlight of their passing attack.
They ran a fake punt, and that was the longest. That was the longest
pass. That was the most passing yards of any quarterback or of any passer in the game. They had three other guys. They had 3 other guys go a combined 5 for 18 or 5 for 17 passing for a combined 24 additional yards.
What?
Yes. When they were not faking a punt, they threw the ball for 24 yards and won this game. That's all I have to say. Welcome to the Big Ten. Anyway, moving right along, we will go to – this is crazy. Like, I'm going to tell you, y'all think I'm just hating. And I know this Sakapulatelli kid is getting better, and Cal has been playing a little bit better, but this is still one of the worst teams that I have seen that somehow is still 6-4. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're terrible. This team lost to San Diego State by 34 points. Do you know what San Diego State did this weekend?
What did they do?
Lost 38-6 to Hawaii.
Oh.
And Hawaii is terrible. So, how did Miami lose to Louisville, and then Louisville does this? I don't get it. Carson Beck, shout out. Anyway, that's
any given Saturday, brother.
Yeah, I guess. That's all I got to say on that one. Another one in the ACC. The ACC is becoming insanely chaotic.
It's a disaster zone.
I think that they are going to have one team, if they're lucky, get into the
champ. It's going to be the champ.
It's going to be the ACC champ, and that's it.
So now you keep talking. I want to look at where the ACC rankings are now.
Wake Forest wins this game 16-9, and it's just disgusting. Like, this is
Virginia was just a mess.
It is. It's a complete mess, and this is another one where I don't know how we're doing this, but teams are winning the game by throwing for under 75 yards. Wake Forest threw the ball 23 times, completed 9 passes for 64 yards and no touchdowns. They also had 0 rushing touchdowns. Where, you might ask, did their 16 points come from? Well, let's see. It was a punt return for 88 yards for a touchdown, a field goal, another field goal, and another field goal.
Wonderful.
Shout out to these teams.
So I'm now looking at the ACC standings. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 1 loss in that conference.
In the ACC, but how many teams have 1 loss overall?
1, and it's Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
So it is, So the ACC standings right now are, a 4-way tie essentially at the top. Georgia Tech, UVA, Pitt, and SMU, and then Duke also 4-1. I think they have to play another conference game coming up here soon, or it'll shake out one way or another. But so the ACC is an absolute just travesty, to say the least. And you see, it's crazy. You have Clemson at the bottom, Florida State at the bottom. It's also crazy, like how quickly teams play themselves into irrelevance once they just like completely shit the bed.
Right.
When and how seasons end out. I remember after that week 1 weekend when you guys went into Clemson and beat them, we were like, "Oh my God, how amazing is that?" Apparently, not that amazing, unfortunately, Chad.
No.
Because Clemson is terrible, and Florida State is also just that. What against Alabama means actually nothing for them, which is insane. Like it's crazy how quickly things change around.
Yeah, now Clemson beat the brakes off of Florida State this weekend.
I still think that Georgia Tech is absolutely a good team. Like
and you guys should still handle them. Hopefully you do, and when you do, then they will have 2 losses, and that will be potentially the best team in the ACC.
Yep.
The ACC champ will have 2 losses, and everyone else in the ACC will have 2 or 3 losses.
Yep.
And it's just, So I don't see anybody else. I see one team from the ACC getting in. That's why I think there's a possibility the SEC gets 5, possibly even 6, depending on how some other things shake out.
A UVA
one of those
Tech
things.
ACC championship would be insane. By the way, that's a basketball game.
Yeah, for real, for sure. So another one, like we told y'all to pump the brakes on Florida, but holy cow, this is not what we meant. This is one of the ones that's supposed to be a gimme win for them. Not only did they lose, they got the brakes beat off of them, and it was disgusting. Like DJ Lagway threw 3 picks, got benched. It was disgusting. I don't know. The Gonzalez era is over too, I guess. I think
does Lane even want to go there?
I think all the teams that were all the people who were looking at some of these interim coaches thinking like, maybe he's got a chance. I think there's practically zero chance that any of these interim coaches become the full-time head coach. And Mark Stoops is just doing his little engine that could routine of saving his job by going just under 500 in the SEC by winning a couple of mop-up games late in the year.
Bro, like it's actually like the transitive property of sports sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't because we shit pumped Kentucky and then we had to work our asses off to beat Florida. And then Kentucky does that to Florida. Like it's just weird. It's so weird. Like how it all kind of shakes out. DJ Lagway got benched in that game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw 3 picks and got sat down. So Garrett Nussmeier got sat down too. It's one of those kind of years. I don't know what the hell's going on. Penn State, Clemson, LSU, 3 top 10 teams that I think LSU has the best record of them with only 4 losses.
Yep.
Penn State has 6 losses. Clemson has 5.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
All right, so Notre Dame started off the season 0-2. That doesn't seem to matter because their schedule has been cake since then. But we talked about it. We knew that this was going to be a rushing attack focused game, and sure enough, it was. Notre Dame ran the ball for 249 yards, and Navy still ran it for 202. So, like, you lost 49-10, and you ran the ball for 200 yards. That's crazy. That's just how it is. Jeremiah Love did his thing. CJ Carr did enough, and that was really the difference because while Notre Dame was, putting the ball through the air for another couple of 100 yards, Navy, let me pull it up here real quick. Navy completed 3 of 10 passes for 22 yards.
3 of 10.
They win the prize. With those other 3 games that we talked about, this was the worst passing output. But it's not because they threw the ball a lot and couldn't complete them. They just only threw it 10 times. Yeah, they were still only 30% passing. But
that's just like not Navy's offense.
Right, but CJ Carr was 13 for 16 for 218 and 3 touchdowns. Then the game got away, and they let him rest and let Kenny Minchie come in and throw the ball around a little bit. And he did his thing, 3 for 3 for 35 yards. Jeremiah Love, 13 for 94 and 2 touchdowns. And Jadarian Price, 10 for 47 and a touchdown. And they even got a little late Aeneas Williams sighting, and he busted off a long run to kind of cap the scoring, a 65-yarder a 54-yarder to cap the scoring late in the game. And he ended up with 5 carries for 72 yards, and Notre Dame walks away with that one. So it looks like, barring some crazy disaster, Notre Dame is going to skate their way into the college football playoff. They do have a game at Pitt coming up this weekend. That's probably the last chance. I just don't see Syracuse going into South Bend and winning, and Stanford's terrible. So even though Notre Dame's going to have to go all the way out there to Palo Alto, I still don't see it happening.
I will say, this game was 7-7 to start.
Yeah,
but
right. I forgot about that.
That game was 7-7. And yeah. I know I definitely talked a little shit on like Notre Dame playing the same schedule they did back in the 50s. However, there is something really beautiful about both teams at the end of the game standing arm in arm in the snow and singing the alma maters, like with the fans. That just like that really, you know what I mean? There's something to that really still goes in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that's why they won't join the conference, is because they don't want to lose that, and that's one of the things that they're just like, no, this is what we've always done. It's like, okay, yeah, but you actually started throwing the ball, even though you had only ever always run the ball. You can do different things as the game evolves. You can evolve. So anyway, one thing that's not evolving is Memphis's ability to somehow choke away their opportunity to make the playoff every year.
You sniffed it out.
Yeah. So they find a way to do it every year. And Tulane, after getting manhandled by UTSA a couple of weeks ago, comes in and handles their business. Jake Retzlaff. So this was crazy. I was texting you while it was going on. Starts off the game like 11 for 11 for like 275 and 2 touchdowns or something like that. He was 16 for 17 at one point. Okay. And it was 16 for 17 for 332 and 3 touchdowns. He finished 16 for 23 for 332 and 3 touchdowns. He went over his last 6. He started off 11 for 11 and then had like a little 5 for 6 and then went 0 for 6. But they had enough to get it done. Memphis just turned it over too many times. And Brennan Lewis had he was 29 for 34. Another insane, like these guys for a while had only thrown like 6 incompletions combined. But anyway, he ends up with 317 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And that pick ends up being like the difference, because it's just enough for Tulane to get that extra possession and win it. I think actually Memphis came back and cut into the lead to make it look a little closer. But Tulane gets it done, and Tulane is still alive. There are a handful of teams that are still alive for a potential playoff berth as the Group of 5 representative. As you know, the top-ranked Group of 5 team is guaranteed a spot. Anyone else from any conference that doesn't win their conference championship, they're all at large at that point. But the Group of 5 conferences are guaranteed one spot for the highest-ranked team. And where that is right now is you have the top-ranked team in that grouping is James Madison, who we'll get to in a second. Right behind them is South Florida. Then you have Tulane and North Texas that are right there in the thick of it. And so that's what it's kind of coming down to. And as we spoke, James Madison got the job done. They stay 8-1 with that 35-23 win over Marshall. And so they are still alive for that Group of 5 playoff berth. And we'll see who gets the lucky prize of getting to play them in the first round.
Dude, let us not forget that early in the season that JMU almost walked into Louisville and beat them. They had Louisville scrapping and fighting to the very end. Let us not forget that. Go Dukes.
That's
Shout
right.
out to my cousin Jake.
There you go. That's right. But yeah, it's and we'll get into, I think probably after next weekend will be the time to actually, once some of the dust is starting to settle and there are really only a couple of games where some stuff could go a different way. Like, let's see how Notre Dame performs against Pitt. If Notre Dame loses to Pitt, I think they're out.
No, they are. They have
to. They're like done. They're like 9th or 10th right now.
They have 0 quality wins. Though. Literally,
but where you are right now is you have in the SEC Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and then you still have Texas, who has slid up into like the top 10, I think, in the AP poll, and then you still have Oklahoma right there with them. The way that this stuff is starting to shape out, and then Vanderbilt, the way this and Tennessee. So the way it's starting to shake out, like you could actually have, when it's all said and done, the way that the schedules go, we'll pull up the scenario builder and all that, and we'll go through like I don't want to do it when there's 3 or 4 games left per team, but when we get to where we're down to the last couple of games, we can look at some scenarios and say like, okay, if this game goes this way and this game goes this way and this game goes this way, you could end up with all of these teams with 2 or fewer losses. And if you end up with 6 2-loss or fewer SEC teams, and then you only have like the 3 2-loss or fewer Big Ten teams, and then there's only 1 ACC team and 1 Big 12 team that makes it because some other chaos happens, it's very, very possible. I think 5 is definitely not out of the question right now, and 6 could start to become like an outside shot. So anyway, that's where things are right now. We'll get into that as we move forward as the season rounds out.
It's exciting stuff, man. It's exciting stuff. But yeah, it's crazy that we're almost coming to the end. It's like actually insane, like how fast this year has flown by, in my opinion, when it comes to college football.
For sure.
I have enjoyed it every step of the way. We have enjoyed having y'all come by week after week. So don't stop doing that. Keep coming around. We appreciate all the love. So make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. For me and for Chad, this has been the South End Zone. We'll see y'all in our next week's preview. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.